Hey everybody, happy Monday. Christine here, founding director of Transmission Ballet. I just want to take a moment to a recap of our first ever dance competition because amazing things happened and we really actually achieved our goal. We went there with the purpose of evangelizing and just sharing the gospel and having a platform for these students to share their testimonies. And that's actually what happened. And I am so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for everybody who financially backs us because you are the one who allowed us to have dozens of hours of rehearsal time without having to charge the students. And the people who donate the costumes are the ones that give the kids the opportunity to have attire to wear during the performance. And so I just want to thank you all before I even share the testimonies. But it is time to share the testimonies, and I'm very excited to share it with you. So, to begin, we had 2 months of preparation for the students who are in the group number, which was a small group lyrical number, and all the soloists, there were 2 of them. They only had 3 weeks to learn a dance or create a dance and then perfect it to the best of their ability so they could then perform it on stage. And so that is what we did because we got free entry because we entered a Instagram giveaway to participate and we won. So our students had the opportunity to be able to participate in a dance competition for the first time and maybe for the last time ever. We'll see what God has planned for the future. But let's start with the dances. So I thought for the 2 dances that we were able to create the choreography ourselves, why don't we give the students a chance to share their testimonies and use dance to storytell, because that's why dance was invented, right? It first was invented as just a social gathering, but then it became a way to share stories. And as I told the students, artists exist to evoke emotion, but a Christian artist exists to transform hearts, for the Lord to reside in them and for them to transform hearts. So for our first dance, the first one that went on was a solo dance. Ballet in Edita means that it's a choreography of your own creation. It was classical ballet. And the whole time as we were creating the dance, I was like, oh, it's not classical enough. It's not classical enough. It looks so lyrical. But in the end, it looked classical enough. And she won first place in her category. And she also won overall highest score for all of ballet, solo, duo, and trio, which is such an honor. She worked really, really hard. A lot at home, a lot on her technique, and just every single moment of her private classes, she was really taking those mental notes and applying it and coming back with all the corrections already applied. And so it's just an honor to see that. And as you also may have watched in the first solo dance, Ballet Inédita, her dance was Padre Estás Ahí, Father, Are You There? And it was just her own testimony with her father on earth, and then the moment where she accepted God as her father as well. And so many of these kids have stories that are really intense and things that have really touched their hearts and impacted them in many ways. But it's beautiful to see that the children, no matter what's going on in life, can choose God and can feel his presence and feel that the Lord does accompany them, especially in difficult moments. And having God accompany them, realizing that these kids know that having God accompanying them doesn't always change the situations here on the earth, but it does change how they're able to react to these situations and affront these situations. That is a beautiful thing to witness in these kids, and it's a beautiful thing to walk alongside them as they choose this path themselves. And so that was the first dance. I'm so proud of her. You can watch her link. You watch the link with the dance. Watch the dance on the link on our channel. And the second dance that went up was a solo. It was a Giselle solo by one of our male teen students, and he was in the advanced category, but he is a intermediate level dancer, and so he already knew from the beginning that it was going to be a challenge. And I told him, like, you're in a category with people who are way more advanced than you, but this is where we're able to enter. So I'm going to put you there and we're going to try our best to do what we can. And it's so beautiful because this particular student has been going through a really interesting journey with the Lord. He was also one that traveled with us. He had the opportunity to travel with us to Costa Rica. Thank you again to everyone who donated towards that trip. And the Lord has really been bringing him through his process, just seeing why God created him and the next step that he has. And he was just sharing with me after the competition that he made a very specific prayer to God before the competition, and God met him there and answered the prayer during the dance competition. And so he told me that he felt the Lord accompany him when he was on stage, and he said he never felt so much like himself ever in his life, like when he was on that stage. And he said that he thought he was going to feel alone, which was one of the biggest fears. It's a fear that a lot of students have. Like if you've never been on a stage, you never danced on a professional stage, you just are very vulnerable. And he said that, but I wasn't alone. God was there with me, and just all these other amazing things. And it's just like, wow, God met him there, and God is really using these intimate moments where one feels vulnerable, and then God is there and says that you don't have to be vulnerable. I'm here with you. You don't have to be alone. I'm here with you. You don't have to feel like you're about to fail. I'm here with you. And so that was just really beautiful. And so then that brings us to the last dance that participated, our small lyrical group number. And it was called Perseguir a Jesucristo en momentos de... No, Perseguir a Jesucristo en la oscuridad. So pursuing Jesus Christ in the darkness. And that was an intense testimony of what happened. So the main dancer, before we even started, we were under the stage still. It was our call time. We got under the stage. And I remember I texted the assistant director and I was like, she is in a not very good state. I don't know if she's going to be able to dance. I don't know what's going to happen. But we'll just see what happens. And I remember telling this dancer, I was like, you have to put yourself together. Like, you have to get it together. And anything that's happening in your life, you have to leave it, because all of your friends have been investing like 2.5 months to get to this point. And we're here to evangelize. Like, it's not even about us. Like, we're here for greater purpose. And I just need you to get yourself together and like leave this situation that's happening outside the door. And I need you to be present. I need you to be here. And so she was like, okay, I'll try. And also one other thing that I noticed is like, we were in an environment where there are, of course, other dance studios from different parts of the country, socioeconomically. And some of our students really noticed the difference, that the economic status of other students. And they did that comparison of, oh, wow, they look so rich, basically. And I just saw it in some of our students' faces. They were making that comparison, and they didn't see the value that they had because they were comparing themselves to others that have more than them, which is so sad. And it's heartbreaking to see in students and children that you love, of course. And so anyways, we went on stage, and they did their dance. And during the dance, I was watching from the side wing, and I was so touched that I was like shaking and like about to cry. It was a lot, and the Holy Spirit was really thick and present. And so now is the time to share with you what happened during the dance, the stuff that happened that people didn't see, the stuff that was happening in the kids' hearts. So before I asked the 4 dancers that weren't the main dancers like how they felt when they danced, and they all said, I feel the Lord's presence or peace. And it's just beautiful to see that they feel like that. They feel strong and they feel unified in the Lord with the Holy Spirit when they dance this. And so then the main student, she told me that when she was off stage, she said, Lord, I don't feel like I can do this. Please come and help me do this, because I don't think I can do the choreography. She told me that she's like, something or someone spoke to my heart and said, you're not alone. You can do this. You have to go through this. And so she went on stage. And if you watch the video, you need to watch it again and notice all these details that I'm sharing about the testimony, because it's just incredible to watch and realize what happened and how the Lord was moving through this dance. So she go on stage. She was supposed to start like with her hand like this, like reaching up to the Lord and then coming down. And she said that she wasn't able to reach her hand all the way up to the Lord. And she was like, Lord, help me do the choreography. Why is my hand not going up? I just want to I need to get my hand up there. She said that it started shaking. And if you watch the video, that's what happened. And so her hand was like shaking. She was trying to push it as high, but she wasn't able to. And then it dropped down. And the next part, she goes forward. She does a turn. And then she's supposed to do a dance move onto the floor. She's supposed to like fall onto the floor in a circular motion, like a dancer with technique. But she wasn't capable of doing it. And she was like, something happened and I wasn't able to do the choreography. And she's like, God, help me do this choreography. Help me do this choreography, Lord. I can't. I'm just not able to. Help me do the choreography. What's happening? Why do I feel so empty? And so if you watch the choreography, it looks very real. And then from there, in the moment in when she takes off the black dress, she said, I don't know how to describe it, but when I took that black dress off, when I took off the fabric, it made a ball. I watered it up and it made a ball in my hands, which I was never able to do. I testify to that because many times when she tried, it would just be a lump of fabric. And I wanted it to be a ball, but she would never get it there. She said, I literally felt weight come off of my shoulders and my back. She's like, and when I threw it, I never threw it so hard before. And then she's like, and I felt such a peace, and it was so different compared to what I felt in the beginning of that dance that I was just astonished. And if you look at the dance, she looks towards the audience in amazement, and then she looks at her hands in astonishment. That was not my choreography. She did that because she was literally going through it. And so she looks at both her hands, and then she told me, she's like, I went through such a moment of peace. And then she went under the fabric. And in this part, one fabric was on top of her face and the other one was below her face. And that wasn't supposed to happen. The kids were also standing in the correct positions for the fabric to not have touched her face. Like we practiced it in rehearsal a lot. They practiced it on stage twice beforehand and it didn't touch her face. But she said that when the fabric went up, she said, Miss Christine, it felt as though there were 5 fingers gently lifting the fabric off my face. And I can't even describe it. And it reminded me of my baptism. And I was like, yes. That is exactly why we came, to share your testimony, because this story is based on your life, to share your testimony, to evangelize, and to be used as vessels for our God Father, Yeshua, through Jesus Christ, so that he can touch hearts of other people. And so the amazing thing is that the dance ended. She felt so peaceful and so free compared to the beginning. And like, that's what God told her in the beginning. You have to go through this. If she had not danced like she did, it would not have come out as it did. And then, this is really beautiful. Afterwards, a dance teacher reached out to me on Instagram and she's like, I just recently got to know our Father, God. And she's like, I loved your dances. I watched them and I want to change what was that word? She said, I want to change the methodology of our studio so that we can also dance for the Lord. And I was like, do you want to come get trained? Because one other teacher reached out to me in January, just like 6 months ago, for the same thing. Because she also saw us on Instagram, and she said that when she saw us, her heart was touched by God and she knew she had to do what we're doing, but she didn't know how. And I was like, yeah, you can come. We can train you. I won't charge anything. Just come. Like, we want to share Christ with you. Like, we want to do this. She said, yeah. And then the day after, another dance teacher expressed interest as well. And so it's just incredible seeing this next stage we're going through, that God is literally using us as dancers to reach out to his people. Like, God even cares about the little bun heads and the little girls in the tutus and the boys in dance. He cares about all of us, and he just wants his people to come back to his heart. And so it's a huge honor to have been chosen by God to share the gospel in the world of dance in Guatemala, and to be one of the first to do it. And to not just do it in my community, but to do it teaching how to use dance as a tool to evangelize in different parts of the country. Because between these 3 dance studio owners that were all Guatemalan, it's 4 different provinces in the country. And so it's like incredible to see that God is sending me, and really soon the students that I've been training up, and already use the students I've been training up, as missionaries, to do the Great Commission, make disciples of men, call my people back to my heart. Like, I want them to know how much I love them. So thank you for being part of that. And thank you so much for partnering with us in prayer, financially, with your donations. Prayer is so, so important. We go through a lot of difficulties working with children from situations of high trauma. So thank you so much for your prayers. And also, of course, without the financial support, we would never be able to pay for the rent and our teachers and the school supplies to help with academics and the English, and then electricity and Wi-Fi and everything. And just these extra opportunities, like going to Costa Rica, going to a dance competition, taking the kids out to eat. A lot of them come from really difficult situations. So thank you for making it possible. God bless.